A few weeks ago, I released audio that occurred just days after Mica Miller's death, where her pastor husband, John Paul Miller, met with the staff of Crocodile Rocks, a bar that he co-owned.
I was going to open up the floor for questions. If you have any questions, I'd love to be very transparent and honest with you anyway. Honestly, you know what's going on.
In the audio, John Paul Miller gives specific details about the scene and Mica's death that should not have been released. Take a listen.
They said that she got ready for work Saturday morning in her work clothes. They said she went and purchased a gun somewhere. I even took from her CWP so that she could not do this. And I even texted her family, please don't give her a gun, because she was trying to get more of it. She went and purchased a gun in Myrtle Beach. I don't know where yet. They said she drove to Lumberton, which she's never been to in her life. She parked her car at a state park and she walked an hour into the woods. She went down by a lake and she called the police. And she told the police, I'm about to kill myself. Can you find my location for my family to have my body? I wish they had said like no or let's talk about it or something, but they said yes. And she did what she did. And a kayaker found the body.
After I revealed that audio, multiple new witnesses and old witnesses that you've already heard from came forward. And they tell me that John Paul Miller was giving the same exact details, not days after Mica's death, just hours after Mica's death.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
Some of those witnesses had verbal conversations with John Paul Miller, and others via text. But to add to it, other witnesses also came to me, and they said that they spoke with Charles Randall also. And within hours, Randall was telling them the same details that John Paul Miller was telling others. And don't forget, just hours after Mica's death, we also have text messages from Trisha Ross, also giving details. The same night. But how did people like Trisha Ross and Charles Randall know those details? Well, we know this, that Trisha Ross was at John Paul Miller's house that night, just hours after Mica died. And it is believed that Charles Randall was there also, along with John Paul Miller's sister, Lacey. And it's that night at the house that John Paul Miller gets a call from law enforcement. Again, listen to the details that John Paul Miller knew.
They said that she got ready for work Saturday morning in her work clothes. They said she went and purchased a gun somewhere. I even took from her CWP so that she could not do this. And I even texted her family, please don't give her a gun, because she was trying to get more of it. She went and purchased a gun in Myrtle Beach. I don't know where yet. They said she drove to Lumberton, which she's never been to in her life. She parked her car at a state park and she walked an hour into the woods. She went down by a lake and she called the police. And she told the police, I'm about to kill myself. Can you find my location for my family to have my body? I wish they had said like no or let's talk about it or something, but they said yes. And she did what she did, and a kayaker found the body.
Now the question is this: who gave him those details? I've been spending the last several weeks going back over old notes, old evidence, and old videos. And I found this. John Paul Miller tells us exactly who gave him those details.
I remember throwing up. Did I have spaghetti that day? It was a lot of throw up. It was something red. I'm sorry?
What did they tell you?
I don't remember that. Oh, no, I don't remember that. Hold on. I don't remember. He said, my family member called the hospital and spoke to, I think, either the head nurse or medical examiner or somebody. And that lady read me stuff that the Robinson County, I guess, had wrote on a piece of paper. And she was reading me suicide and the weapon and where it was at and all these different facts. And so then because the detective would not tell me it was suicide. And then I called him back and told him what the hospital told me, and he was pissed off and asked me who that lady's name was, and I didn't know her name. And if I did know, I wasn't going to tell him anyway, because I'm glad she told me anyway. And so, and I said, is this stuff true? And I can't remember if he said yes or just hung up. I don't remember.
Now, of course, John Paul Miller can't remember the person's name, but he says the medical examiner or nurse gave him the details of Mica's final moments. But remember the details. Mica going to work, the 911 call, how far and how long she walked in the woods. Would a medical examiner or even a nurse know that much information just moments after getting Mica's body? So, I decided to ask myself.
Reach the North Carolina Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Medical Examiner's Office.
My name's Robbie. I was calling. I just had a question. If you guys had a family member come in that possibly committed suicide, what details could you answer in regards to their death? Are you able to give me details about that death in the scene of how it happened?
No, sir.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to tell me what weapon they used, or how they got the weapon, or where they were found, anything like that?
No, sir. You can probably get that information from law enforcement.
Okay, so you guys aren't allowed to share that information?
No, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye-bye. And don't forget, according to John Paul Miller's own court documents, he found out the next day, Sunday afternoon, that Mica had taken her own life. I've always said, don't listen to me and the facts that I give you. Let John Paul Miller tell the story. And eventually, you'll figure out the truth.
Are you trying to ask me if I think somebody murdered her?
Do you think anybody murdered her?
No.
Am I okay? Are we okay?
You're doing good?
Have I said anything that you think is going to destroy me?
You just tell your story.
You have to think about it for a minute.
No, I'm just trying to be honest with you. I don't think so. I don't
So if
know.
we're coming to the end, that means these are going to be the ones that are going to hurt.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. We'll see. I don't know.
So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?